you're also one of those people that actually executes on those cool things on a fairly regular basis. And in relationship to this work, you've been one of the pioneers in really enacting authentic relating communities and creating the connection movement and flying around the country and the world in helping authentic relating communities root, and also in holding the connection camp and doing these variations that none of us as individual communities can all do it all ourselves. And so in being in the divide and conquer kind of enterprise we're in, you've been a major ally and contributor and champion, and I'm excited to you get to share more about the connection movement with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's going to be a minute. So, how is everyone? How do you feel? Are you nervous? I am. Well, thank you, Robert, for that introduction. Do you want to switch? Yeah. Okay, we'll switch over. Cool. I feel really excited to be here today and moved to mountains to make it happen, and it feels really good to be with all of you and to be sharing my vision. It's a big one. And it's my hope today that some of you will be inspired to join me and help manifest this vision in the world. And I guess I'll start off with a little story. There are two experiences that are pivotal in having me here today. The first one, I'll give a little background. As a little girl, my coping mechanism was to shut down. And starting around high school, I was really wanting to flip the switch back on to my emotions. And I spent decades banging at my own door, trying to get in, and not being able to feel myself, not being able to feel the world in the way that I knew was possible. And this was a long journey until about 4 years ago, when I went out to a birthday party at a bar in New York City, and I was unsuspectingly circled by Brian Mayer. And that started my journey towards wanting to create more of that in my own life and more of that in the lives of other people. So I launched Authentic Relating New York. And the second pivotal experience has a video to share it. I don't know if you think we can do that? Not yet. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, I've been running Authentic Relating in New York community for the last 4 years. And in the last 3 years, I have been working with Circling Europe, and have recently left that position as the head of operations and community development in order to further pursue my own personal vision, which is the connection movement. And since that time, 9 months ago, I have launched communities in Johannesburg, in Cape Town, South Africa, in Charleston, South Carolina. There are a few communities bubbling up now that in South Florida, and there are communities in the works that will be emerging soon in Hawaii, Paris, Barcelona, and Mexico. Yeah. It's been a busy 9 months, and I've been really happy to experience the momentum and the response from people who are on board with this movement and what I see. So I guess before I dive in further, I'm gonna ask you to share what are some movements that you can think of from history. Just call them out.
Civil rights.
Civil rights. What did you say?
The Crusades.
The Crusades, yes. Gay rights, women's suffrage, abolitionists, animal rights. Yes. And so what all of these have in common, firstly, is that they made significant political and social gains. And in all of these cases, individuals and organizations came together with a common purpose of shifting or changing beliefs or actions that were otherwise accepted as normal. And they would come together as teams to make change, and they saw that they were stronger together. So, what I'd like for you to do right now is just take a look around this room. You can stand up if you're in the front, but just take a look around this room, and I'd like for you to see the collective power that is in this room right now. And we represent individuals and organizations who are all working with common goals, but are not yet working in a collaborative way. We're not yet working together towards accomplishing something together. And that's my vision, is a collaboration, a union, an alliance, really a movement of all of us coming together to work together. And I've just gotten about to the point of my talk where I really need my slides. So, I have my computer. Would that be helpful, Jason? Okay, great. I'm just going to grab my computer.
We broke your computer, Dig?
It's right where you're sitting.
You managed it really gracefully so far, Amy.
Thank you.
Someone tell Joe. I have no jokes.
Ask me if I'm a truck.
Are you a truck?
No.
How many sun bombs does it take to change a light bulb?
I'm not in.
I don't know. Yes, that's the correct answer.
Ask me why I'm so funny. Knock, knock. Who's there? Owls.
Can I stop it?
I have an idea. I'm just going to look at the slides. Woo!
Yeah.
And you don't get to see them, but I'll speak from the slides. Cool. So, why a connection movement? And what is it that we just talked about, women's rights and civil rights and all these movements? Why am I calling for a connection movement? This period in history has been named the Age of Loneliness. And I recognize that for so many of us, we have built communities, we live in communities, we develop our relational skills, and this may not feel like a norm to us, but it's actually estimated that 1 in 5 Americans suffers from persistent loneliness. And this is in a period when connection is way more available than ever before through technology. 62.5% of the people who express that they experience persistent loneliness are married and living with a partner. And research suggests that loneliness is twice as deadly as obesity and as potent a cause of early death as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. Because we simply can't cope alone. We find that, let's watch a video. No, it's just the sound.
Let's imagine it.
Started rapping.
Worth the wait.
Just reviewing. Okay, here we are. Okay, awesome. Thank you for bearing with us in technology. Really appreciate it. So, emotional trauma and social disconnectedness have been attributed as the causes of addiction in many, many cases now, more than the actual chemical hook of substances. And there's a recent study at Duke University where they one-to-one communicated with 1,500 random adults from the United States and discovered that 1/4 of adults admitted that they have no one with whom they can share their personal successes and troubles with. And if you eliminate family members, immediate family, that number skyrockets over 50%. So I hope this helps us all, first of all, just feel really good about the work that we're already doing and the difference that we're making in lives. I know it can be hard to remember at times what an important role this is playing. And also, we are sitting in an environment, in an atmosphere of isolation and addiction and loneliness. And I see that connection is the cure, and the connection is the antidote. So it's time for a connection movement. A movement is purposeful, collective action working to foster a tendency or trend. A trend of more human relating, of human connection, a tendency towards greater emotional and relational intelligence, and a trend of cultivating human relating in a time when technology and isolation are dominating. And I do believe that people are ready for this. Besides seeing the need and the longing, I know that they're asking for it. I've had the same experiences in the wealthy suburbs of Charleston, South Carolina, as I have in the settlements of Cape Town. And it's my opinion that we are the answer, that we hold the key. And I can imagine you might be thinking, aren't we already doing it? I'm leading games nights, and I'm coaching people, and I lead webinars for hundreds of people, and I'm doing this work, Amy. And I do see that, but I also believe that we can accomplish so much more if we work together. That our collective impact can transform this environment that people are living in right now. And so I'm calling for an alliance and a unification and a collective effort in the name of this movement. So my vision for the Connection movement is an association of relational leaders that serves as a center point around which we can orient in order to reach more people, have greater impact, and learn from and support each other. From the public's perspective, and this feels big to say, but I'm saying it and claiming that the phrase the Connection movement will be embraced by the media and the public as what is possible in the age of loneliness. I see the website for the Connection movement, which is in the works right now. I wish I could be revealing the website right now, but I see it as a place where people can find all of you internationally, the coaches, the leaders, the community leaders, the teachers, where we can discover local opportunities for connection, find ways to learn and connect online, like Authentic World and Circle Anywhere and the 10 Directions program, access resources for how to bring connection into workplace, families, relationships, and education. And I see these resources being created by us collaboratively. And sparking and coordinating global actions that engage hundreds of thousands of people. So this is an image from the video that you didn't get to see. And I want to share with you a little bit about it. A year ago, almost exactly to this day, I was on Facebook and I came across a video that was calling for individuals from cities around the world to organize an eye contact experiment in their own cities. Who heard of this before or said that? Yes, it's awesome. So when I saw this, I was completely on board. It was the kind of thing that I thought of doing on my own, but never taken the initiative to do. And so I jumped on board, I made a Facebook event, and I invited a couple dozen friends who I thought would join me. We'd make signs, we'd go out in Union Square, we'd meet some people, have a good time, and maybe if I was lucky, a handful of people would come and join circling on Monday night sometime. So the next day I came back to my computer, and there were over 200 RSVPs of people I didn't know, and one friend had responded. The next day, a couple hundred more, and the next day, a couple hundred more. And this continued over the 2 weeks. where I watched the numbers go up eventually to over 1,900 people who responded to the simple opportunity to spend 1 minute in silent eye contact with other individuals on the streets of New York. And I was blown away. I was blown away, and I became really inspired. And my vision shifted from authentic relating New York to the connection movement. And I saw what was possible, and I saw what I could create, and that if this could happen, that on October 15th last year, I could have 400 volunteers holding signs and making silent eye contact with 4,000 people in the streets of New York. Imagine what more we could do. That was 2 weeks of effort. And imagine what could happen in the whole world if I could take this and bring the tools that we all know to teach into the public sphere. So that's the second pivotal experience for me, was leading this experience in New York. And I just want to tell you, on a global level, 156 cities participated and over 100,000 people were impacted. So it was really thrilling to be part of that. And what I've done since is I've created a model that we're about to test out in New York that brings the essence of circling and relating into the streets, into the public sphere, and then is designed to funnel those people into deeper experiences in the cities where they belong. So in New York and here in Boulder and wherever else we pick up this experience. So I'm really excited to come back and roll that out with you when it's ready, but I want to master it first. And right now it's also looking, and this feels really important to me behind my mission with the Connection Movement, is that in supporting communities, that we're also supporting the leaders. Because I've had some really important conversations with Deborah over the years about the idea of us taking on the role as missionaries or even pastors in communities, but we're not employed by a church. And so there's so much work and so much dedication and so much energy and effort that goes in, but when you're charging $25 and changing people's lives at the same time, it's really hard to make a living. So I'm really committed to applying all the studies that I'm doing, business and strategy, that will help the leaders in these communities and the people running these experiences to actually be compensated for their work. Woo! So I've shared a lot about the benefits for the public for this movement, but I actually want to also talk about the benefits for all of us, because I can imagine you might be sitting there inspired about the difference you can make, but also thinking, I worked really hard already, and how am I going to do more? And so I see this movement also as a way of supporting all of us. I see the opportunity for professional development, bringing all of our skills to each other online and being able to cross-train and help each other. Right now, Sarah, Ness, and I lead a monthly mastermind call. And during that mastermind call, what we find is that what's happening in Austin is supporting the people in Canada, and what's happening in Canada is driving decisions for people in Norway. And we don't need to recreate the wheel. We have such a wealth of knowledge and information, and we can all work with and learn from each other. And then I also see offering, this is going to roll out soon, I'm going to be offering the Tribe Builders Mastery Program, where we support people who have the skills and the tools for leading and facilitating, but don't necessarily know how to build a community, run a community, or run a business that actually makes money while helping all these amazing people do amazing things. We can have greater visibility, press, and exposure. To me, this just seems clear that what a community of 20 or 40 or 100 is doing is not going to be as visible or as attractive to the media as what a global network of people are doing who have a common vision. We can share and aggregate content and resources. I envision this being almost like an Associated Press or something like that, where like a portal where the blogs and the video podcasts and all the content that's being created. There's so much just in this room, I can imagine there's so much content that's being generated, and I want to pull it all together into one place to support the public in being able to learn, but also to support each other and use each other's resources to grow and learn and to support your own clients. And getting support and connectedness. Sarah mentioned before our mutual experience of isolation as community leaders and how challenging it can be to be the one holding and sometimes feeling on the outside. So coming together as leaders can give us our own sense of belonging and connectedness with each other. We can leverage for partnerships with highly influential leaders. I have my eye on Michelle Obama and Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey, and I imagine that as we align more and more, that we may share our collective Rolodexes or contact lists in our phones to access and really get exposure and reach out. We can collectively raise or receive money. I feel very excited to announce that this weekend I got my first financial supporter, and it feels really amazing to be validated in that way. And we can collaborate and innovate. And this feels really important, and probably one of the most important parts of this is that this summit and the International Circling Festival that happens in Holland are amazing starting places for alchemy and for people to discover what other people are doing and new partnerships and new practices emerging and evolving as we learn about what each other are doing. So I see the connection movement as a further place to do that and to continue to cultivate what's started in these places. I also know that I have many ideas for projects that I just simply couldn't do by myself, and I imagine that in this room there are a lot of amazing ideas. So having the support of other communities could really make it happen. So I just want to share two of those little ideas that are big ideas, because maybe it'll spark someone's interest and it's something you'll want to take on. I fantasize about a documentary that follows individuals new to this work through programs like SAS and T3 and the Art of Circling, where we can actually track the growth of people and see the ripple in their lives. I don't know, for those of you who've gone through these programs, if you've seen people's faces change, you see their bodies change, you see their whole lives change, and I think that would be amazing to have a series or a documentary that follows people and can support the work that we're all doing and can benefit all of us. And there's a neuroscientist in the community in New York, and we've been talking about doing research and gathering data so that this work can be seen and regarded and legitimized as a research-based, evidence-based practice and modality. And maybe my mother will approve of it then. And I just imagine that could benefit so many of us to be able to have these studies that are specifically about circling and authentic relating and what it can do for people. So those are just some of my ideas, and I imagine you've got a lot of ideas. I want to hear them, I want to know them, I want to integrate them, and I would love for all of us to come together and create together. The possibilities are infinite, especially in collaboration. So I want to close with an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So please join me in this movement. And I'm going to be leading a breakout shortly, and I know a lot of people are going to be leaving. So I created a form on my website so that if you have ideas that you want to share, or you want to jump in and help, or you want me to help you by coming to your city, or whatever it may be, I'd love to hear from you. So thank you very much.